What is up, everybody? This is Silverspook, and this is the Silverspook video about alien Earth and fearing the future, AI, artificial persons, Xenomorphs, and what humans will gestate into. Yes, so if you haven't heard of it yet, Alien Earth has recently, at the time of this video's release, Alien Earth has just recently hit the streaming on Hulu FX. Holly and I have checked out the first couple episodes of that. Generally, I would say do check it out. Just in general, that's just a really short 3-word review. If you're wondering what we think about the show itself, just on a entertainment, sort of review basis, we'll talk about other topics as well, of course, in this stream as usual. But so we just watched some Alien Earth. We were thinking about that. Lots of thoughts on it. The show itself, the Alien franchise. I would say Alien is in a genre that's very close to my wheelhouse, which is the cyberpunk, dystopian fiction, science fiction, darker science fiction, and Alien is more directly. A lot of it is very straight horror, like sci-fi horror. But which is, to an extent, I mean, that's why part of why I titled this video Fearing the Future, subtitled it Fearing the Future, is because I think a lot of sci-fi horror, going back also to Frankenstein, going back to 2001, to the extent that 2001 A Space Odyssey isn't a horror movie, but the feeling, right, that you get when Dave is in the ship with HAL 9000 is very alien. It's a similar sort of existential dread of what could, right, because some of it's, some of 2001 is very positive about we could become the Star Child. We could advance humanity could advance by leaps and bounds, and it's also transformative, right? Well, what does that mean to become more than human? What does it mean to evolve, right? And I remember Ridley Scott talked about, he was really obviously struck by, and like most filmmakers, blown away by 2001 A Space Odyssey. And then he always, he talked about thinking in those terms as well. How can I do better than 2001? Or also Star Wars had recently come out before Alien. But there's also a dread, there's so much possibility, right, in the future, just in general, not even in the science fictional world, but just as a human species, thinking about the future is something that we can do, and there's a lot of hope. What if we can travel into the stars, right? What if we can go 20,000 leagues under the sea? As Jules Verne wrote about. What if we can, journey to the center of the earth? What if we can create a new species through robotics and mechanical engineering and computer engineering? What if we do that? What if we could do that? How amazing would that be? Right? Obviously, Isaac Asimov already thought about that as well, with iRobot, and also in the Foundation series, it involves journeying deep into space, and then also journeying deep inside and imagining the possibilities of what a new cognitive sapient, a new life form that isn't human but could be like humans, and what that would be like, creating a new life, right? And so that's I feel that's just deep inside of the human psyche, and But it's also like key to a lot of the Alien, like what makes Alien really great. One of the many things that it does, because it's about fearing. It's about it. Obviously, like just as an example, I'm like Holly and I. This franchise is extremely close to both of our hearts and our frequently watched. If we look at a statistical analysis of our film, TV show, and even game screen time, it's gonna be a huge chunk of that. I think Holly said like probably this is in the top 2 of the most watched and rewatched film and TV. Not intellectual properties, but the universe in which Charlie has probably spent the most time. For me, like definitely Terminator, Alien, and those are related as well. Those universes are definitely spent a lot of time in those, and so it's like a it's kind of like almost like I can pull any. We were talking about it, and I'm just like grabbing all these references from every single Alien movie. This is like that. This is like this. This is like that. Comparing like how the corporations, how the the wealthy billionaire, corporate Titan man is there's a lot of recurring characters like the synthetic. Who are they? Are they our friend? Are they our foe? Right? What's going on inside of that android? Right? Synthetic. Right? There's this horrifying completely new biological life form, right? That's an alien. It's a xenomorph, right? What is it? What is it doing? What is it going to do? Is it dangerous, right? So a lot of like and we're I'm gonna try to stay as on track as I can, but it's gonna be hard for this one. So because it can go in so many directions, but like just to kind of like spiral around the fearing the future, like a exoskeletal serrated tail, right? Filled with molecular acid as it goes, that can burn through 6 feet of ship's hull in a matter of seconds. You have to lay down suppressing fire, collect all magazines for the M4A1 pulse rifle, and lay down suppressing fire with small arms and flamethrowers. Anyways, but yeah, it's kind of like the Alien, because it really taps in. Like a lot of characters start right. Like Prometheus is one I was just thinking of. Prometheus is the film chronologically that predates Alien. I believe it predates also Alien Earth, if I'm not mistaken. And so Prometheus definitely begins with this team of scientists that examining 10,000, 20,000 year old cave paintings. Right? They discover that there may be intelligent life out there in the galaxy, right? It's like the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Like millions of dollars and millions of people have spent their lives, right, just letting their computers crunch away. I remember I had a SETI calculator on my Dell 486 PC bought from CompUSA. I swear I had the SETI calculator. That you could help crunch numbers to detect whether like light year away signals were whether they were actually possibly alien communications or extraterrestrial life communicating, or if it's just random noise. I remember I had that on my computer. To this out there. I mean, it's right for the imagination, that whole world. And so like these in Prometheus, like these people discover, oh my gosh, this is really actual first contact with an alien, with some kind of non-human life form across, somewhere light years away from us, outside our solar system. And so they go on a journey, but it's like a journey of like, oh, we're gonna meet our makers. They might be our makers. That's one of the other beliefs. It's kind of like it's almost like meeting God. It's like meeting the race that created you, right? In Prometheus, I have a video specifically about Prometheus. I'm pretty sure I have like at least 3 or 4 YouTube videos about various parts of the Alien franchise. I swear. I have so many YouTube videos. I would do one a week, so I can't. Probably, I'm not gonna hunt for it right now. Holly might already know where it is, but maybe I'll look for it later. But so like in Prometheus, they journey through the cosmos with Dr. Shaw, Peter Weyland himself of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. I believe at that point it might not have been the Weyland-Yutani Corporation in the timeline, but anyway, they all go right to try to meet that who or whatever, right? The progenitor or what it was. Some people call it I think my dad called him the Alabaster Romanoid. Not he didn't say Romanoid, but the Alabaster God Greek sculpture people, because they're like, there's these I think the original description was I think the engineers. Where'd it go? I just want to get a picture of him. God damn it. What is happening to the internet? Why am I unable to Google search? What is my computer mutating into? Did Google break? Like, what has become of you? Anyways, okay, so yeah, so the engineers, they're basically like these giant white 8 foot tall, 8 foot tall, huge guys, but they're like, they go to meet this race that created and you got a little clip of them at the very beginning of Prometheus. But so it's kind of like a sense of wonder. What I'm trying to get is that there's a sense of wonder, there's a sense of awe, there's a sense of discovering something great, right? But then in the middle of like kind of like exploring what is the possibilities of the future, just like having your mind blown away by these new breakthroughs and like learning this new paradigm shifting knowledge, and just like the scientists are really, they're all scientists, are like really like wanting to make these new discoveries. It's almost like discovering DNA itself, or bigger than that probably, actually meeting another alien, actual conscious alien, non-human species. That's huge, right? So they're all kind of like caught up in that Christmas morning feeling of like, we're gonna have the best, this is the best thing that could ever happen to us, right? And what will they be like? What will our creators be like, right? And then it's like, oh, there's actually a scene where like we're talking about like, why are these people being so not smart? I mean, it is a horror movie, right? So it's kind of like, I was kind of like, there's always a part in Alien, right? Like John Hurt bending over, like going into a completely unknown, totally, definitely not human spacecraft, right? They don't even know what it is. And John Hurt like walking over this creepy hive or some kind of very poorly lit with incredible fog and lighting cinematic setup, but it's like very creepy giant nest of like it just look like huge eggs, right? And he's just like sticking his face into it, right, when it opens. That's like the famous Alien scene, right? The original facehugger scene. But it's like at that time, that scientist, right, the crew is like filled with this sense of wonder, sense of just the wonder of the future, the excitement for the future, like discovering new things. And then like right at that time, but it's kind of like being caught up in your the excitement and the feelings of discovery and what a joy this is. And right in that moment, then that 10-fingered somewhat arachnoid, somewhat scorpion-like creature jumps out and grabs your face, and then it is sending its urethra-like proboscis down your throat, uh, you know, wrapping its snake anaconda tight grip of its tail around your neck, and then you will be dead soon, and you will be giving birth to the future from your exploding ribcage. You know, that's like that's like a recurring theme. Like it's always like the future is here, and now you're dead. You know, your future is here, and now bits of your internal organs are all over the floor, and there's blood everywhere. Isn't that beautiful? Now the future is here. Look at it, with its like horrifying. Look at your baby that you've made. You know this. Look at the baby you've made that is like this like insectile, horrifying nightmare creature with like razored needle teeth, acid for blood, and it's crawling around, eating everything and killing everyone you love. That's the good. Look at the future you've created. You know, it's like you know, it's like look, you've made Donald Trump. Like, look, you've made you know, you're gone. Look at the future that you know, your corporations and your greed have brought. Look at your Doge team. You know, I don't know. Just take your pick, right? It's kind of like it's kind of like a look at the monster you've created by like failing to parent your children, and now they're like spoiled brat adults that are like abusive, toxic people, and they are monsters in their own right. Look what you've created. Good job. That's a lot of like the fear, because a lot of like I mean, you know, I was like I said, like this can go in so many directions all at once. Yeah, what's up, Comrade Internet? But it's kind of like the fear. There's like a lot of different fears that are all coming at the same time, right? It's kind of like the fear in, like, for example, in the first Alien, or I should say the second Aliens, that, you know, where the anxiety of parenthood, the anxiety and desires and terror of terror of motherhood. James Cameron talks about that. Like this, a lot of it's about the fear of becoming a parent, becoming a mother, a desire to, but also fear of that. Because it is life changing. Becoming a parent does. I mean, Holly and I, having gone through this process, it is transformative. You know, you do gestate and give birth to a new person, right? Because the world isn't about you and your individual needs and desires and your dreams. You know, whether that's becoming a game dev or moving to California or traveling around the world, or, you know, I don't know, just chilling out and relaxing under a palm tree with beer, or whatever you thought your life was going to be about. Becoming a famous composer, rock musician, movie star. When you give birth to a new generation, when you have children, it does change your world, because now you have to think about, you know, now you are just a part. I mean, ideally you should be, you know, caring about people in general and not just being a selfish a-hole. But down when you have kids, it's like, okay, well, now you have to take care of this young, new creature that you have produced. That's not you, and it's something new. Like, really, a new generation it's kind of joyful, obviously. You know, it's having, you know, watching your kids be born and watching your kids grow up is one of the best, you know, amazing life experiences you can have. And it's also terrifying. Like, what if I screw up? Like, what if I do this wrong? Right? So people put it off, right? What if like, I mean, you could die in childbirth. Like, it's dangerous, you know, especially in a place with terrible healthcare system and maternal care like the U.S. You could definitely die, or be in a terrible situation. You could be in a terrible financial situation. Even worse, you could be $60K in additional meta debt. That's its own existential dread, right? You know, it's like, you know, on the waiting table, gestating your progeny, right? Nobody can hear your bank account scream. You know what I'm saying? That's the real existential dread. It's like, oh my God, this hospital ride alone is $10,000. You know, I'm gonna have, my body is gonna be shredded to pieces. Like my wallet is going to be shred to pieces by the razor sharp claws of United Healthcare and this unfeeling, unthinking corporation, right? That is as cold as ash or Weyland Yutani. It's called the healthcare or this hospital company, right? This medical corporation, right? That's the real existential dread. It's like, what if I get sick? What if I break a bone? You know, what if I have to give birth and I can't afford it? That's the real alien. But you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, so it's kind of, but it is like all of that is a lot. You know, all of that is a lot of, you know, how will my life change? I'll have to take care of this creature that's clinging to me, you know, like a parasite, you know. All right, technically, when you are, you know, when the birthing person is going through the process of pregnancy, that is technically a parasitical entity. It's a foreign alien entity inside of your body, right? It's like literally growing inside of you. I mean, it's also from you, but it, like, like some of the biological science, you know, if you look into it, it's like there's actually hormones released by the mother, and various chemicals released by the you know, the fetus that's being gestated inside the womb. There's actually a fight sometimes between them, right? Obviously, it's like ultimately they're going to be parents, but like the body, there's a different DNA inside the body, right? And sometimes like the baby will release hormones that will cause the mother to react a different way. Obviously, feel morning sickness, feel like throwing up, feel like you know, just like be groggy, feel like you need to eat. Holly really wanted extra spicy Popeyes gravy, you know, but that's actually the foreign entity, right? The xenomorph inside the body is actually requesting that, like sending like signals out. But it's, you know, to, you know, obviously I'm not saying like children, oh my God, they're just like horrible things. No, they're raising great things. But like it is like there's two different creatures technically inside one object, you know, inside one. And it's it's kind of, it can be scary and it can be painful, you know. Obviously it can be painful. It's going to be painful at some point, you know. It's going to be a big traumatic experience at some point. I mean, if you get a C-section, you know, then you're going to literally, your body will be ripped up, like your abdominals will be split, the skin, the fat layer beneath that, the muscle layer beneath that, like a 7-layer burrito, right? You're going to have literal razors slice open your body. You're going to be pulled open, and a new life form is going to come shooting out of it. Well, not maybe that's shooting out. It will be gently tweezed or lifted out carefully. But if you give birth naturally, I mean, it's, you know, I've been around that, you know, a couple times. I haven't done it myself, but you know, Holly has, and it's like, you know, that's it's you know, there's blood, there's a lot of gore, there's blood, there's various organs and tissues that come out, you know. You know, it's not pretty, you know. It's like it's not I mean, it's not it's not a horror scene, but it's very visceral, you know. It's very organic. It's very biological. Anyway. Sorry, I'm trying to get my computer to scroll down. But yeah. Anyway, so what I was trying to get at is that basically that the, you know, there's a fear of the future of parenthood. That's like part of Alien, and it's been acknowledged that's a thing. And so Ripley in Aliens is worried about where she had a child, but then she, at the end of Alien, the events of Alien 1, you know, she went into cryosleep, and by the time she uh, she was I think I forget the exact chain of events at this very moment, but like she was gone for like over 60 years, and she had a daughter, but her daughter grew to middle-aged, grew into an adult, became middle-aged, became an elderly woman, and died. Right, so Ripley has like missed her entire daughter's whole life, right, and that's like kind of like this heartbreaking part that she's like, when she finds that out, she's just like, that kind of sets up the rest of it, because she later discovers on a xenomorph stricken colony. Is it LV-426? Can't remember exactly, but if that's aliens or alien, but there's one survivor that's a little girl, right? That's about the same age as Ripley's kid, and so she kind of takes her on as, she kind of becomes like a surrogate mother. Obviously, it's part of a rescue mission, right? Put on by the interstellar colonial marines, et cetera, et cetera. And so there, she saves her, but there's also this kind of like, I'm going to nurture and take care of this child because I never got, as kind of like, I never got to do that for my own daughter. That's a whole part of that. That's part of what's going on there. And then the alien queen, of course, there's one famous line, where Ripley is in the power loader and is fighting the alien queen, and she's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" She's trying to protect her adopted daughter, and the alien queen, and Ripley has just come and s'more roasted a whole ton of the xenomorph matriarch's children, right? All them eggs, with the M4A1 pulse rifles, grenades, and a whole crap ton of napalm. It's like burns the whole thing, and it's like watching it's like a giant version of like a Terminix exterminator. Bug clean out of your house. Watching all the centipedes and the spiders and the roaches. A lot of around here, a lot of our friends are spiders, so it's kind of sad thinking about that. Yeah, we can count the legs on various. We remember the fist size 5-legged, and then the funny bum wiggling 7-legged spiders around our house. So that's kind of sad to think about that. But anyway, making friends with all your insects. But I mean, like, to be fair, the alien queen did kill the alien queen and her progeny, her gestated fetuses that have now become 8 foot tall, incredibly hostile creatures. They have killed a whole lot of humans. So, I mean, it is kind of like, you killed a lot of humans. You killed all of Ripley's crew in the first one. So it is kind of, there's a fight. Anyway, so then Ripley's adopted child is like being attacked, and she's in the power loader. The queen comes after her, the child, and Ripley. So it's like a cat fight between the two moms. Right, and she's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" And then the alien Ripley in the power loader, this giant mech warrior, looking thing, has to fight the alien queen, the giant mega alien. And and that's definitely a big part. Alien has always been a final girl horror franchise. It's always been. Today, a lot of audiences, especially like the more right-wingy, MAGA conservative, sort of male audiences, they would probably call Alien and Aliens woke. It would be like, this is some woke, you're putting this, you're putting all these women inside of my action movies. That's probably what it was. Like this did the same thing with Terminator and Dark Fate. I've made that point like in at least 5 separate YouTube videos. I made a video just about Dark Fate. The Dark Fate is the perfect example, and so I've seen a little bit of that in Alien Earth already. Some of the reactions to it, but actually, like, really, I mean, that's actually pretty important. I feel like it's pretty key to a lot of Alien that it is a horror movie with a female final survivor protagonist. I mean, like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween and and this obviously several versions of this. Arnold is the honorary final girl of Predator, you know. So he is the highest, you know. He is the highest protein filled pumped iron BMI final girl. You know, but he's still final girl though. But anyways, but yeah, so like Ripley, you know, but it's kind of like because it has to do with that survival and the horror and and also has to deal with like children and giving birth, and because the alien when it is like the most horrible parts, the gross out, terrifying parts, right, is that the alien latches onto your face, impregnates you down your throat, right, and then it literally uses your body to your body is like the placenta for its child, and it's using you to grow its young, and then it's going to rip out of your stomach, and what comes out is going to be a little bit like you, right? Because aliens, when the xenomorph implants its future generation into a dog, right, the alien that comes out runs on all fours. It has like a longer tail. It has like dog-like characteristics, right? When the alien implants into a predator, it literally releases what is canonically called a pred alien. So it's much larger. Its head is shaped more like a predator. Its body type and shape is closer to a predator than a human. The predators in the Alien vs Predator universe are bigger. So it's like you kind of are. You're kind of the co-parent with the alien. You know, you're like the husband or the spouse or the wife of the alien that has just had its facehugger shove its sperm down your throat, and now you're gonna be giving birth soon, and you're gonna die, right? And so you're the co-parent of it, you know, except you get to die, you know, you get to literally die, and you're gonna die in the most horrible way, and your child will be the most horrible thing, and it will kill everyone. It will kill everyone around you, right? That's a good reason why Ripley is constantly trying to, you know. I think there's a line in Alien Resurrection. The general of the ship is like he hears like in just jumping to that one, he hears that like and this is the fear of, I want to say, the Alien Resurrection. This in that scene where they're trying to clone Ripley, because Ripley in the previous film Alien 3, she has inside of her a queen, like that is gestating, is impregnated inside of her, that she didn't realize was put there in Alien 2. And the head of Weyland-Yutani Corporation, played by Lance Henriksen, the original copy of Bishop, right? He comes down and he says, "No, Ripley, think of all the technology, think of what we could get," right? So that's the sense of wonder for the corporation. And the capitalist, the billionaire, the CEO, he's like, I want the applications. I want the hypersonic, you know, missile, you know, maybe there's some rare earth inside that alien. You know, maybe the physical molecular structure of its husk could be used to make a better bomb to kill people, right? Maybe we could use the acid, or we can make biological weapons from it or something, right? We can have some kind of technology. I can make a lot of money. I can have control, right? That's a sense of wonder for, right, the corporate leader, right, played by Bishop in Alien 3, played by Lance Henriksen in Alien 3. You know, there's Peter Weyland in Prometheus. He's giving a TED talk. He's like a Elon Musk, Iron Man, billionaire philanthropist, playboy, spacefaring god meter, creepazoid. You know, they're all like, what could we get from this? What money we could make in Alien Earth? I haven't even talked about Alien Earth. Sorry, I'm just like spiraling all over the place. But in Alien Earth, there's a boy Cavalier who is like, I just want to have conversations with people that are smarter than me, right? In this kind of very flippant Cavalier way. I'm just bored, and you are all boring me, and I'm just so smart and hubristic and a terrible person. But anyway, so but it's like, but that's kind of like the sense of wonder for the financial economic elite, the Titan, of industry, right? It's like, what could we get from it? But then anyway, so then like, but Ripley says, no, I'm not. I don't care what you want. I don't care what technology you could bring. I've already had to wipe out. I've already had to like watch my entire crew of the Nostromo die, being sliced up, having their chest blow up during dinner, exploding all over all of our spaghetti and our astronaut Tang, and then John Hurt just died on my table. I killed the alien in Alien 1. I killed the alien queen and so many aliens in Alien 2, and I watched everybody die again. I'm not going to give you like, this queen is dying right now, right? And so Ripley like jumps off the ledge and plunges herself like 200 feet down into like the molten steel in an old north of England furnace, because that's actually where Alien 3 was filmed. You could tell. You have that rundown British post-industrial angst and decay there feeling. It's great. But anyway, so Ripley, like, she's like, I'm not going to give you what you want. And that's the fear of the corporation, is that I might not make as much money as, the fear of the CEOs. I might not make as much money as I could have. I might lose out. That's the fear of Weyland. Like, there's a scene between Mrs. Yutani and Boy Cavalier of the Prodigy Corporation. Not to be confused with the Prodigy musical band. Tech rock stars from the 90s. Prodigy, in Alien Earth, there's 5 corporations, right? And so there's this war. And they all want the alien war. It's science, tech, and military applications that they could benefit from, right? And their biggest fear is the fear of losing out. It's kind of like the fear that NVIDIA will lose the largest market in the world and they will go under. And I support that all American corporations exploding, except Steam hang around for a little longer because I need to keep selling Neofeud though. Till I kind of get Neofeud ported to Harmony OS. But it's kind of like so in that moment, like, so Ripley's like, no, Ripley kills herself because they say, like, if you come with me, you have an alien queen in you. Think of the possibilities, think of the potential, and Ripley, and we could save your life, right? If they freeze Ripley, put her into cryo, put her into stasis, they could take the queen out and she might be able to live. But Ripley's like, no, I am going to choose to just kill myself. Right? I'm going to choose to just kill myself rather than allow these things to exist. So that's like a self-sacrificial bit that she does. And then after that, it's like, and then the next in Alien Resurrection, the general, the military guy who is working for some government. I forget exactly what the situation, who exactly it is, but it's basically some big imperialist, capitalist, colonial. They have colonial marines government. They're like they're trying to clone Ripley to get a version of that queen out because they have samples of her blood. But, they're trying to clone her to try to get access to that queen, get access to that alien by trying to revert, basically trying to take bits of her blood that is fused with, that's also where you say, like, like the alien, you and the alien are co-parents, except you generally die. It's very, the alien is an abusive spouse. The alien gets to have nice things, and then you just get splattered all over the ship's deck, unfortunately. And so, but the alien in Resurrection, they finally get a clone that is not, its own kind of monstrosity. That's its own signature added value. That's the Alien Resurrection one up. That's what it added, is kind of like that. That scene is really horrifying. I had some nightmares from Resurrection. The 0 to 7 cloning vats. I don't want to say. I won't describe it. You can go watch it. And then the newborn is also terrifying as well. There's a giant xenomorph on my wall right now. Giant spider. It's the friendly one though. they eat a lot of these annoying ass flies. The flies are more annoying. You know, I would take a flamethrower to them flies, flying up my nose when I'm trying to stream, going into my, you know, yeah. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that and give other people nightmares. But there's like a lot of you know, spiders actually can lay eggs inside of your body, and they come bursting out of, like, there's like a lot of stories of like there's like a giant pimple on someone's face, and then when it explodes, it's actually like baby spiders coming out. Yeah, there's insects that lay their young inside of your flesh, flies, and other things like that. Technically, there are leeches. There are some what do they call them? Slivers. They're like the little worms. They actually go into your bloodstream. I can't remember which one. They're one of the fluke worms. They're these worms that go into your bloodstream, into your arteries, and then once they get into the arteries, they basically will mate for life inside your aorta or inside your carotid artery, and they'll just be like spooning forever. It's very romantic for them. They're literally like curled up like yin and yang, 69 forever inside your bloodstream, and they reproduce. That's how they reproduce inside there. And then there's also rat lungworm. You can look that up if you want some other kind of nightmares. There's actually lots of insects and lots of other creatures that reproduce inside your body all the time. You know, huge, like pounds and pounds of your body weight, your body mass is made up of technically foreign viruses and microorganisms, right? Your gut flora, there's a little jungle in your stomach. It's all aliens. You know, they're technically all foreign bodies. If you don't have enough of them, you can't digest properly. That's why you got to take a probiotic, because the xenomorphic biological organisms in your stomach, you don't have enough of the right ones, and then you can't digest properly. You get a stomach ache. Ask me how I know. I need the friendly xenomorphs inside my stomach. Otherwise, I can't start having all this, like, it feels like someone's like stabbing me in the left side of my my left upper abs over there. It sucks. Anyway, so you know, in that sense, we always have aliens around us gestating and giving birth, using our bodily tissue and bodily fluids at all times. So yeah. If you think about, like, there's actually, like, when you just wipe your eyelashes, you know, millions of bacteria and microbes and various creatures, you just wipe them all off your face. You possibly killed a lot of them. You know, in your mouth is bacteria, right? Not as much as a Komodo dragon's mouth, but there's a lot of bacteria in your mouth, just, you know, in general at all times. No matter how much you brush your teeth, there's xenomorphs just swimming around in your saliva, reproducing, you know, converting plaque and converting bits of the roast beef in between your teeth, right, into food, and then mating in between your molars, giving birth. Life is full of life finds a way, you know. Anyway, so but yeah, so anyway, so like so what I want to say is, so yeah, so like the fear of the general is, what if Ripley comes back and she wants to, what if we cloned her, and they eventually get a actual Ripley clone in Alien Resurrection. That's kind of in the history of the film's releases. Alien Resurrection is number 4 because it's Aliens, Alien 3. Fun fact: Alien 3's original script was written by William Gibson, which is, you know, technically a friend of ours at the Silver Spoon Cooperative, and also you know, writer of Neuromancer and the original cyberpunk books. I haven't talked about cyberpunk. That's definitely one of my key specialties. And Alien is, I would say, Alien really is almost it predated Blade Runner, but it really, in a lot of ways, I would say it's kind of the original cyberpunk. It's kind of the original cyberpunk work, maybe proto cyberpunk work. It's almost like the alpha version in game dev terms. There's so many crossovers. I'll come back to that thought, because Blade Runner, in a lot of ways, you know, could basically be said they're both Ridley Scott directed. It's almost like the Ridley Scott. It's like the Scott Free universe, you know, like Scott Free Productions. Did Google decide to work? Thank goodness. Okay, Alien Engineers. Yeah, these are the guys I was looking for earlier. I couldn't get a picture of them. because like Scott, the Scott Free universe, because I don't think like formally Alien and Blade Runner, right? There's the Blade Runner series, obviously, like world renowned classic Blade Runner. It was actually described as one of the most impactful, one of the most influential films of the last several decades, 40 years at least, at one point. Art, architecture, clothing style, everything. Science fiction, philosophy, it's influenced everything. But Blade Runner and Alien are not necessarily in the same universe. I don't think they've formally been described as that, but like they really could be. They really could. Most people. It's very similar universes. Giant faceless mega corporations, both directed by Ridley Scott. It's got synthetic persons, right? The fear of them. Replicants in Blade Runner. You have synthetics in Alien, but it feels so similar. There's also if you've never heard of this, I made a video about it when we watched it. There's actually another Scott Free, Ridley Scott produced. There's Ridley Scott produced TV show, which is called Raised by Wolves. I made a YouTube video just about this as well. This was also really good. This is actually Alien Earth reminds me most of Raised by Wolves in some ways. One of them is that it's a TV show that feels like a Ridley Scott movie. Like it's the quality of direction, screenwriting, the plot, the cinematography, everything. The filmmaking in general is like of a very high caliber. And Raised by Wolves is like that. It's like a lot of the prestige TV of the late noughties and early teens has that. And Raised by Wolves actually came out recently. And it's like Alien Earth because Alien Earth is like it's very well done, like Alien, in many ways. And Raised by Wolves is also like that. And it's another one that's technically not in the Alien vs Predator universe, not in that Alien world, but it like there are synthetic people with white liquid for blood. Okay, and Ridley Scott was like, no, it's not the same world. Like, bro, Ridley, Ridley, my brother in corporate malfeasance. Are you kidding me? Like the android, like the synthetics, they even call them the same thing. There's like all of this like reproductive horror. Like there's a scene actually where the mother that the wolf mother in the center, obviously Raised by Wolves, a reference to the vulpine, not the vulpine, the lupine creatures that suckled the originators of Rome, right? And but anyway, so the wolf mother, she literally has like she's an android who has 8 separate like a wolf. She has like 8, not nipples, but they're like 8 it's like, why do you even need that? But there are like tubes coming out of her stomach, right? Where she has like 8 nipple like mammary glands, but she's like a robot. Where like her like some kind of white fluid, right? Because the white blood, I forget. It's like that white android blood that the alien synthetic people like Ash, Bishop, they all have it. That white creepy blood. Right, it's like that android blood, and she is like nursing 8 humans with her android blood or something coming out of her 8 nipples. That part is kind of horrific in and of itself. It's kind of like, what the hell is happening? Why is that happening? And she's like looking at her little children, and like right. So it's like that. That's kind of like an inversion, right? Like the humans are like the parents of the synthetics in a lot of the Alien. And in the Alien movies, definitely in Prometheus, right? David is the synthetic child, very abused, very neglected child of Peter Whalen. The replicants and the alien androids are all like a created race by humans. In Raised by Wolves, there are the synthetic people are raising human children. So that's like one of the interesting, like kind of, it's almost like a role reversal from the Alien and the Blade Runner worlds. And yeah. Anyway, lost my train of thought. But yeah, anyway, so I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, so let me finish the thought about Ripley. Ripley in Alien Resurrection. So like in Alien Resurrection, if you want, I mean that's one that really gave me nightmares for some reason. Yeah, Alien Resurrection. Oh yeah, that thing is creepy, man. The newborn. The cloning rats. Yeah, so in Alien Resurrection, the scientists. Let's see if I can find the scientists. The scientists are trying to clone. They're trying to clone Ripley, and Ron Perlman is trying to put moves on Ripley. Also, that part's hilarious. Hellboy is trying to get with the ultimate final girl of science fiction, and he gets his balls broken by a basketball between the legs. That's hilarious. Also, one of my favorite lines in the Alien franchise is it's actually kind of like it's actually like kind of related to Alien Earth, where like on this ship, and like by the way, yeah, so this Ripley here is like the cloned Ripley. She's not the original Ellen Ripley. She's like, they took the blood of the now dead Ellen Ripley and they've like produced a completely new organism. Right? She has some of the blood. Right? You see how like it's actually the same thing. The fear of like what could happen. Like who is this new thing? Right? She looks like Ellen Ripley. She talks like Ellen Ripley. She has black hair like Ellen Ripley. But but she's not quite. She has like these really creepy long fingernails. She's like super strong, right? She can like shoot a basketball, right, like halfway across the court without looking, just like throw it up in the air and like it perfectly swishes. Like that's not Ellen Ripley. It looks like her, but it's something else, right? It's kind of this like Body Snatchers feeling. Like who is that, right? What is that? Are they a friend, right? Does this new clone that had some of the queen's blood? That's why she had a xenomorph foreign alien body, right? That was mixed with her DNA, and they finally got the cloning right. They got it right? But like what came out, right, was they got a queen, and they also got a version of Ellen Ripley, right? And at one point, I think the scientists are all talking. Let me see if I can find a part where it's like the scientist, this creepy ass guy. That guy is creepy. Yeah. The scientists are all talking about like what they're gonna do with the Ripley, because what they wanted, right? Like what we said, like what does the corporation want and what does the corporation fear? The corporation wants more money, more tech, right, under capitalism. And he wants more tech. It wants it's the bloodstream, right? The viscous fluid, right? If your body is the placenta of the xenomorph, right? And it will use your body to gestate its young and then explode out. The corporation's placenta is cutting edge technology, right? It's dollars, right? It's humans the corporation needs the humans to churn away, right? Work in the mines, work in the Nostromo, right? Like the crew that's going on strike. There's a whole labor issue in 1980s Detroit. The Rust Beltification and deindustrialization of America was key to that as well. Still a problem today. Still, it's kind of like the gestation of corporations that are being birthed like an exploding xenomorph out of America is, right? Is you can watch it happening now. The impregnation happened in the Reaganomics era when Alien was written, and now the exploding corpse is Donald Trump coming forward, and the United States, right, with like 37 trillion in debt, like, and the corporation is like, we've gestated inside of your America under neoliberalism, and now we give glorious birth to your bright future, right? With $200,000 in student debt, medical bills, no supply chains, Category 7 pyronados, and you got your entire water supply being given to malfunctioning, broken, artificial intelligence also horror creatures like rock that are poisoning and killing your entire community, right? Look at the glorious thing you have gestated, right? That laid eggs down Lady Liberty's throat, or Uncle Sam's throat had a corporate facehugger on it, and it stuck its progeny down. Arguably, I was always there, but it really got going to a large extent in the 80s, and now the Statue of Liberty's chest explodes, and the body has died. Anyway, but it's kind of like so like the corporation, like, and the general, this guy, when they discover, wait, because they're getting what they want, right? In Resurrection, the corporation and the it's technically like basically the United States government, which is part. They said, like, I think there's a line. One of the lines I like is in Alien 4 Resurrection, there's a line. The guy in the back, he says, Ripley, you had to deal with those horrible profit-seeking bottom line corporations. They're ruthless organisms, these corporations. But Ripley, it's 200 years in the future. The world is different now. This is the United States government. We're the government. We're not a corporation, right? And then it's like, and you're still, everyone's going to die. You're doing whatever you want. They're all trying to make money. And it's not really all that different. Right? It's very American. It's very U.S. Corporate state capitalist. Same difference. Two branches. You have the private and the public sector of giant oligarchy of ruthless, soulless, heartless machines, profit-seeking machines, whose hostility, it's your what do you call it? What is that Ash's line, like the structural perfection is matched only by its hostility, right? And so it's like the structural perfection of America's profit-seeking over all else is matched only by its hostility of its military-industrial complex. Anyway, so I think a lot of people like Alien because it actually reflects the way that a lot of Western and a lot of definitely American society is, right? It's like if you could see it from above and you could like see beneath. If you could have an ultrasound, of the internal insides of America's photoshopped, glossy magazine spread skin, right? If you could see beneath the skin of America, right? And of the capitalist global, right, global capitalist neocolonial system led by America, it kind of looks like Alien. It's horrifying. It's like, oh my God, what a ruthless, disgusting. But then you can go back to sleep and have sweet dreams, right? Because you have some nice, you have some nice Taylor Swift, or you have some nice McDonald's arches, and you have some nice Disney movies on top of it. But you look underneath it, right? What's inside, what's gestating in America is the most horrible thing possible, right? Like, the Statue of Liberty is gravid with the death of all life on Earth. Literally. I mean, it's basically literally, that's what it is. It's the capitalist system will destroy everything, right? Even environmental scientists can confirm that. Ask the Category 7 pyronados. Anyways, so the general and the scientists are like, okay, we have the clone. We don't need the clone. Let's just. But one of the scientists in Resurrection wants Ripley, and he's just like, we could study her, right? Because she is not human, but she's also, right? She's part human, but she's also not fully human, right? So the general guy is like, we just want the queen. That's all we want. We want the queen. We got it. We're gonna make, we're gonna have like exoskeletal biologically grown neodymium magnets for our hypersonic missiles. Thank God. We're gonna make some better weapons using the alien technology, the acid for blood, the applications that we could do. We can make better weapons, better bombs, better armor for our troops. Examining that super hardened exoskeleton, the chitinous outside carapace. We can use aliens like COVID, we can like drop it on other people. We can drop like malaria, mosquitoes. We can have, this is like a biological weapon we can deploy, right, entire cartons of alien eggs into people's countries and kill them all, or whatever else we want to do with that alien, right? So the general kind of represents the military industrial complex, right? The U.S. government. We got what we want, it's like a Manhattan Project. It's like the the American Project to MK Ultra. Like, we got our technology, we secured it for our global dominance. We got the queen. That was the prize. Now we're done. But the scientists like, no, but one of them is kind of creepily kind of like attracted to Ripley, or I forget. He's weird. One of these guys. Can't remember. They're all weird, but the one guy on the left is extremely weird. And he's like, no, we need that Ripley. We need to keep Ripley around. I think he like licks her face at one point. It's really gross. And he's like, we need to keep the clone of Ellen Ripley around because we could observe and we could learn more from like how the human interacts with the alien DNA. Because somehow, like in Ripley's body, there's a fusion of the alien and the human DNA. Like the alien it's not destroying and ripping the human apart or transmuting in it like the Thing from John Carpenter into something else, which happens a lot in this universe. And so there's a symbiosis between the human and the alien DNA. We need to study that, right? And so the general is like, okay, fine, whatever. Have your science fair project, right? But then Ripley, right? The Ripley clone, who has some memories, like they do a test where they give like pictures of like frogs and strawberries, and they try to help her memorize because she's unable to speak, right? She goes from being she like is bred inside of a vat into an adult human, right? The exact technology is not ever explained, but she has to kind of learn, right? She comes out of the vat with, she has to like learn how to talk. She has to learn how to read. She has to learn how to do math and write, right? And she has to learn it all. But then later on, so it kind of seems like she's a blank slate, right? She doesn't have any memories. But at one point, eventually they actually hear the scientists suddenly, give me a sec. At one point, the scientists all of a sudden start to notice that she starts talking about things that had happened in her previous life, or she talks about the Thing, like she kind of knows something about the aliens. And like, does she remember? Because she talks about like, they will breed and you will die, right? She's like, I know because, and she's like, she mentions something that implies that she's fought them before. Anyway, long story short is like, so she is actually, maybe she's not a blank slate. She might actually have memories. And so that freaks out the generals, who the general is like, wait, she has memories. And the guy's like, well, it's just a byproduct. It's some ancestral DNA transfer. These are like he uses a bunch of science fictional technobabble. It's part of the modular, the modular, discombobulational cloning process, and there's a resonance there's a resonance echo or something. There's like a genealogical echo. And then the general's like, wait, what are you talking about? Are you saying that she has memories? No, it's nothing, right? And then the general's like, because if Ellen Ripley has memories, she spent her entire life trying to wipe this xenomorph species out, and for all intents and purposes, she succeeded. I don't want to take up her old hobbies. So the greatest fear of the corporation is like kind of the opposite, right? The greatest fear of the corporation is that the humans will like grow a spine and do what needs to be done and wipe hostile foreign entities out, right? Because I mean, or imperial capitalist systems, right? It's almost like we need to stop the unions. We need to stop the for the West, it'll be the communism. We have to stop. Like the communism is the foreign entity that could wipe it out, right? It could wipe a capitalist imperialist system out, right? Like for all intents and purposes, communism wiped out American colonial capitalist interest in Vietnam, in the various countries across East Asia, in Cuba. We don't want that communism spreading, right? Communism could infect, right? That's like body snatchers, right? If anti-capitalist thought infects the West, the great American body, right? It could gestate, right? Watch out. Keep a close eye on your neighbor. What's under their Stetson, right? Keep a close eye on if anyone speaks about communism, report it to the nearest government official, right? This is a dangerous idea that could impregnate your American, your good, star-spangled, hard-working, capitalist American mind. We can never speak, particularly in the Cold War, but even now, we can never speak about that communism. That is a foreign xenomorphic entity, right? Coming from hive mind insectile alien species, these Chinese, these alien Chinese, alien Soviet creatures out there, they could infect our strong, good, traditional, Ubermensch. I'm sorry, just normal American minds and our body. Our civilization could be infected by the plague. Right, this xenomorphic species called communism. So that's like another way to think about it. I mean, it actually is like that's literally part of the body snatchers, which is sci-fi horror also, right? It's like the fear, like what's underneath, what's inside of your body, or like who is actually in. It looks like your wife, it looks like your husband, but actually inside, right? They're corrupted, right? They're not who they were. They're actually a communist, and you need to report them so they can be conditioned and removed from the American society, which will be destroyed by these dark, right, just horrific communist ideas. There's a quote we were sharing it. There's a quote by this is I know we're a little bit on the political topic, but Kwame Ture has a quote that American people are people who think they think but don't think, right? And he brings up that idea. Speaking of foreign alien bodies, right? Kwame Ture said, American people are people who think that they think, but they don't think. Just as an example, if you have an enemy, right? You claim communism is your enemy, right? Like, let's say the snake is your enemy, and you say, we need to be careful of snakes. Snakes can kill us. And then you say, well, I don't want to know what a snake looks like, though. I don't want to know anything about snakes. That's nonsensical. That's ridiculous, right? Right? Because if you have to watch out for snakes, how can you watch out for snakes if you have no idea what a snake is, what it does, what it looks like, right? But American, right? It says we have to be afraid and fear the enemy, which is communism, but also we want to know nothing about it, right? So there's my cyberspook political education inserted into this, mostly reviewing this movie and talking about and TV show and talking about the whole series. But so in that sense, but that's another way to think about it, right? So the fear of the future of extremely wealthy billionaires, the fear of the future of the corporation itself, if you think of it as an organism, the fear of the capitalist system, right? The capitalist, colonialists, etc., kind of not great systems that we live under. That's why a lot of things are feeling like a horror movie a lot of the time in places like the United States and in the West in general, right? The fear of those systems of the future is a future, right, that they are destroyed and negated, right, and no longer, right, exist, right? The fear of Jeff Bezos, right, the fear of Weyland Yutani, right, is that, I mean, maybe they will die, they'll be executed by their crew, right? I mean, actually, just to bring that, like, there was always that kind of, there was a kind of, not necessarily Marxist, but there was like a, as I mentioned briefly, right, there is let me see what union in Alien, there's the black, there's actually a character in Alien that looks almost like, I swear to God, he looks like a clone of the black worker on the original Alien movies ship. Like, they reproduce, it's amazing. It's uncanny. Like, did they clone that guy? This guy right here? This alien actor? He's actually a Bond villain. And there's also an African who played a very tall African guy. He's like 7 feet tall. Who played the alien in that suit. He did all the physical movements for the creature. Let me just. I want to put these two like side by side. They look so similar. You know what I'm saying? The black cyborg guy. Okay, look at this black cyborg guy. I think he's I forget the country. He's actually from somewhere a country in Africa. I can't remember which one. But there was this like this. Look at this guy in Alien Earth. This is he is a Babu Sise. He's a cyborg in Alien Earth. And then look at this guy. They are like, I swear, like this is like the Alien Earth black cyborg. He's like, I swear, he's like the identical twin, or he's like the son or grandson of that guy. Like, it looks so similar. He looks incredibly similar. I mean, not just because he's black, like his head shape, his face shape. I mean, I don't know. When I saw him, when I first saw the first bit of Alien Earth, this is how Holly and I knew it was gonna be like a good show. It was a very good sign it was gonna be a good show. When I saw the first Alien Earth, the first minute of Alien Earth, in the cryo chamber, like when everybody wakes up in the cryo chamber, it was like identical. I mean, I know maybe they had the original set from Alien, but I mean, I feel like a lot of this stuff, it's been a long time. We had to recreate it. But like the cryo scene, the waking up in the cryo chamber, the way they wake up, the costumes, everyone's wearing these tank tops. Like Ripley is wearing that at the end of Alien as well. There's these particular tank tops that they're wearing while they're in the cryo chamber. They're like sleeping clothes. The chamber itself, like the way the banter happens, like after they wake up, it's like, I swear, I almost thought it was footage from Alien, but it's not. It was all recreated. So they did like an amazing job, like putting together like the sets, the costumes, the even the way that people are talking, like they're just like kind of groggily, and one guy wakes up, the doctor wakes up and starts smoking, as Holly pointed out. Yeah, and there's something like that in the original Alien as well. It's a place that people have been living in for a while, right? It feels like it's a very like lived in. I think is it the Nostromo spacecraft? The spacecraft is a very lived in place, and then so anyway. But the reason why I was thinking about that is that Harry Dean Stanton in the original Alien, right? He is there's a whole. I was talking about the fear of the corporation. The fear of the corporation, right, is right the salting of a union or worker consciousness and organization, right? Is like that. That spreads, right? If educated workers, there's actually literally there's a fear described by the United States leadership in the 1980s that if too many people became college educated, right, the educated proletariat could be bad for the United States, its empire, and capitalism. That they literally said that. They said that's why student debt really it was one of many tools to control the fear of the U.S. capitalist leadership and the oligarchy is like if too many of the masses become educated, right, they might burst and explode the chest of this oligarchic plutocratic system and then blow it all up, and then the corporation could give birth to the socialist North America and a better world. And that's the worst thing from the perspective of extremely wealthy rich dudes like Peter Whalen or Elon Musk, or Donald Trump, he's also a billionaire, or Bill Gates, right? And they don't want that. And that's their fear. That's their fear of the future. And so Harry Dean Stanton's character, it actually begins with like Harry Dean Stanton and the black worker. These are like the crew. They're like the blue collar workers. They're like low ranking workers. They make sure the engine is still working, right, on the ship. I forget their exact tasks, their exact position on the ship. but he and the black worker, because there's also like a lot of labor disputes happening in this time in the 80s in the late 70s and early 80s in Detroit, right? Jobs were being shipped overseas. America was being deindustrialized. Workers are getting shafted. Corporations and billionaires were getting richer. A lot of the whatever was remaining of like the better treatment of some workers since the New Deal era. This deep into the Cold War, right? Things are really being a lot of protections are being rolled back. There's a lot of crackdowns and breaking of unions. The flight traffic controllers union was a big, huge blow where thousands of people just like lost their collective bargaining protections, right? And at the same time, all these jobs are being shipped. Part of all that increases this new neoliberal globalized system of the U.S. will be doing this financialization, and a lot of the industrial production jobs are getting shipped overseas. And then just the threat of like, well, we don't need you, so you better take lower wages, or we'll ship your job overseas. It was a weaponization of that, this new neoliberal global system against the workers inside the U.S. Right. Anyway, so my point is that like the milieu and like the zeitgeist of that time period was there's a lot of strife and economic instability, and the unions were trying to fight back. And there's a point where like the workers say, Harry Dean Stanton and the black character, I forget his name, they like, we're gonna form a union. We're going on strike. Like actually, they talk about a strike. They're like, Wayland-Yutani Corporation had a contract with them. They're like, we were on a contract to do, I forget, like mining, some kind of business. We're just out here to do our normal contract. We're supposed to get home and we're supposed to get paid, right? And that's it. And the corporation says, no, it's time to go. We have a new objective. You all need to go, and we're gonna extend your work period, right? Like basically the Harry Dean Stanton's character in the crew, they're all being asked to do overtime. And also they're going to like an unknown place. And so they start talking about hazard pay. Like we're talking about Alien is like, in some ways, it's a cautionary tale about why you need OSHA, occupational safety and hazard protection, right? I mean, because literally Alien is what happens. The corporation puts their employees in really bad situations, really hazardous situations, and they get hurt and then die, right? It's literally, they get hurt on the job working for the company. Right? It's like falling into, having no protections and like, somebody's arm getting smashed off or dying in a auto plant, right? People at Amazon, they die being crushed by forklifts. People like break their back, jumping to make at one point it was like, you need to get 1 item per 11 seconds in Amazon fulfillment centers, and people were like herniating their discs, throwing out their back, like causing serious damage to their bodies, right? In these grueling conditions that the corporation, the capitalist owners were forcing people into, right? So the corporation, what it fears, right? And that's symbolized by Ash, this faceless giant screen that just outputs this green on black text. That was another really good sign. That Alien Earth was going to be really good is that they actually had the 1970s giant computer screens with giant wall with all these like blocky 70s circuitry on it. They had the actual the readout was that the Alien the actual the actual green screen with the Weyland-Yutani text. It looks like a 1970s, late 70s, early 80s computer interface, and they reproduced all of that also for Alien Earth. They also did it for Alien Romulus. Like they went back and recreated a lot of like the chunky 1970s tech. It's like a lot of shows I noticed are doing that more. Like the movie Fantastic Four feels like it's in the 70s. Or there's like vinyl discs, It's like there's like a vinyl disc, but it's like really shiny. It's good. Oh, it's a fancy vinyl disc, right? And then there's like record players. There's no cell phones, right? It's all set in that time period. It's a future science fiction from like a branched off, like Back to the Future 2 branched off 1980s future that just keeps going on and going, right? It's kind of like which is really cool, and it takes a lot of time and effort to put that together, and so yeah, that was really cool. But anyway, so Harry Dean Stanton's character though is like, because they're saying we're gonna be sent to this unknown planet to look for foreign life, like what are we even looking for, right? And so he's like, we didn't sign up for this. This is not in our contract, right? It's like if your boss suddenly says, okay, I need you to like go off into this like treacherous area of the factory on Saturday. You know, you got to come in on the weekend, and like there's like a fire, and there's like a hazardous chemical leak, and I need you to come in on the weekend in your off time and get this important hard drive or fix. I need you to go and fix this gas leak that you're not qualified to fix, where there's a hazardous spill on the weekend, right? And so that's where like so there's this whole, the laborers are saying like, well, we didn't sign up for this. We want to negotiate our contract. We're not going to do it. We're going on strike, right? And then the captain and some of the other crew are like, that's actually, you can see that there's this moment where the captain and other crew members, that also happens in Alien Earth, where some people are like, what are we even doing with these? Maybe we just jettison all these science fair experiments, right? And then the corporation represented by the cyborg character in Alien Earth says, he gets really serious all of a sudden. He says like, our mission is these specimens that we've got that we found, these alien life forms we found in space. That is our mission. Do I need to have security detail posted at your door? It gets really serious, right? Because like in Alien, it's Ash, and in this one, like the cyborg are like the yes men. They're like programmed synthetic yes men that like do the bidding of the corporation, like physically in person on the ship. And so there's this kind of like, there's like this tense situation in the beginning of Alien Earth. It's kind of like there's a tense situation between the workers and the Weyland Yutani Corporation also in Alien. At least there's a couple, right? Where the workers are like, we're not going to do what you say, right? And then the captain has to look at that's another thing where you can see like, if more of the workers, right? Like, cause there's the one screaming, the girl that I think she's actually canonically was described as like assigned male at birth, or was like, there's actually canonically a transgender individual in the crew of Alien. She's like not Ripley. It's another female character, or femme presenting character anyway. But if she and some of the other crew members all but all the other crew members, they don't have like a strong unanimity to go on strike, right? But the corporation is trying to nip that in the bud. Like the I think the guy's name is Dallas. The captain is Dallas. Dallas and Ash are trying to like stop the workers from rising up, right? Because the thing is, if the workers said, we're not going to go on this possibly hazardous, unpaid mission, if enough of them said that, the worker power could have overpowered the corporation, but maybe, right, in that moment, and maybe they wouldn't have died. Because eventually everybody but Ripley dies. So that's kind of, I mean, that's another cautionary tale about like, if you don't organize your workplace, you don't have educated, activated masses understanding the situation. If you don't have people, as Kwame Ture who said, if you have all your people that think they think but don't think, like as a lot of American people in the capitalist system have, then you're going to get eaten by hostile alien entities like corporations, you know, and other things like that, or just the damage that they'll cause to your whole society, which is what has happened, right? Which is what has happened, as I kind of alluded to previously. And the chest burster is just Doge and Donald Trump, you know. That's the, you know, and the death of the United States economy. The hegemony and the imperial system is good, but a lot of people are suffering massively because of a failure to organize enough in the last 40 years to undo the damage that had been done. Certainly in the 80s, with the neoliberal economics. It's been there, and now we're in the cyberpunk, dystopian, alien, Blade Runner, Neuromancer, Neofeud future. You know what I mean? So anyway, but I just want to be like, so that is like something that comes up, and that kind of also comes back later, where it's like the fear of the generals and the fear of the corporation is like, what if Ripley goes back to doing the right thing, right? Like, it's kind of like, what if American citizens get so much courage that they stop the generals and the billionaires from, right, doing horror around the world. Like, obviously in the Middle East, there's a particular horror, but there's also another horror. There's other wars, and there's other imperialism and other horrors they're doing. What if the American people? What if people in the U.S.? What if people in Canada and elsewhere rise up? Right. That's why they have to try to. Right. Wait, it has memories. You got to get rid of the memories. That's why they have to censor. We can't say certain words on YouTube and in many Western social platforms. Right. Because what if you have a memory? Like, what if Western people under a neo-colonial capitalist system start to actually think? They become people that the people that have memories, people that have this true historical and economic education, that people that they're not just people that think they think but don't think. What if people actually start thinking? Like, what if people learn what communism actually is? Right? And that's kind of the horror that keeps that is the nightmare of the corporations, the nightmare of the billionaires, nightmare of the generals, nightmare of the creepazoid scientists that think they're going to be want discovery for no matter what the cost of what they're inventing, including, actually, did you know, like, over 50% of the German Nazi party were doctors who were working on medical science. There's a movie about Unit 731 and horrors of Imperial Japan, the biological science they did. Right. The reason why we know 70% of the human body is water is because of these horrible fascist Japanese scientists that incinerated Chinese people alive that they had captured and weighed the ashes versus the original body weight. Right. A lot of that science comes from this horrible. That's the dark side of a lot of this. That kind of imperial colonial science that has no regard for morality. Right. As Ash said, as Ash the android said in Alien, I admire its purity. Without delusions, its mind is not clouded with delusions of morality. Right. Ash also drinks milk, which is a fascist dog whistle historically. Right. And also, I think that's also why the blood of the synthetic originally was white. Right. It's because it's pure white. Right. And it talks about it is the perfect organism. Right. It's the uber organism. It's social Darwinism. Like this like the alien is right. Right. The alien is, I'm gonna get a picture of Ash. The xenomorph, right? The xenomorph. This is his horror scene, right? He's covered in his own white insides, right? And just his dismembered head sitting on the table in the Nostromo is being plugged in to get data back after he's tried to kill the entire crew multiple times, right? Ash the synthetic, who's been pretending to be a human the whole time. Nobody actually. I believe nobody actually realizes until the very end that he is not human, right? And then he's like, and they said, like, you admire it, and he's like, I admire its purity. It's survival instincts unclouded by the delusions of morality, right? So he's like it's like the pure fascist, the pure Nazi. Like, we will be the master race, right? And the alien, to Ash, the alien is a master race that has to replace humans, right? In that scientific, in that evolutionary way of thinking, right? So that's right. It's kind of like the future is great, but the future. What if the synthetic what if we create robots? What if we create another life form? What if we create like human like hybrid species? What if we create AI? I don't want to talk about the AI. Today's AI horror show is a lot. I talk about it a lot, but I don't want to get too deep into that. But what if we create some kind of robot, computer mind hybrid of some kind, and it replaces us, right? On this grounds of, well, with this evolution, you deserve to be replaced, right? And so that's kind of like Ash kind of represents like that fear, but it's also historical. He also represents that historical reality that some humans are based upon this idea that there are humans that deserve to survive because they have the stronger blood, right? They have the survival of in a social Darwinian sense, which is that's a lot of warped. A lot of that is very pseudoscientific, but we deserve to live. We deserve to replicate, right? The great white race deserves to colonize Africa. The African, what even Winston Churchill called the lesser races, right? So that is part of, sadly, human history. There have been, ethno supremacists. There have been people who like deeply believe in that, and that the future, whatever it is, deserves to replace humans, and it deserves to, and that which is most murderous, that which is most ruthless, survives. Like a lot of that is like actually in nature. That's not exactly how it always plays out. It's not just whatever kills everything survives. I think things that kill everything in their environment, actually, that's not very good for your survival, because living things actually depend on a lot of other ecosystem of the other living things, right? So, like, if actually, in that sense, like, it makes good for horror. It's good for a horror movie. It's good for science fiction or existential dread. It's good for thinking about the fear of, like, what if something was created that wants to wipe us out. But it's also like, if a xenomorph actually existed and it just killed every animal and like everything it could around it, like if a species like that existed, that's not very good. I mean, it's really not very good also for survival. Because like a lot of the other, food sources that you might depend on, or the creatures and organisms that create the environment that you depend on, will be wiped out, and that's not a very good survival strategy. That's actually like just being a ruthless, murderous killing machine is, not actually. That's also been interpreted by certainly the Western colonial capitalist, white supremacist world historically for several centuries, that like that is what it means to survive, is just to be the most brutal, most conscienceless, most merciless killer, right? Just the most cutthroat capitalist, the most killer military, the most brutal colonialist enslaver. That's what it means to be strong, and that's what it means to be evolutionary fit. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrific, but like over the long run, that's not necessarily in nature. That's actually not. There are predators that hunt, like sharks, and there are tigers and bears, but they also don't like kill and enslave and spread everywhere and kill everything, right? They like prey on certain animals at a certain rate, and they're not just they're not just like tigers don't just kill every single thing around them and spend all day killing. Like that's just not like even that's not what they do. Like when they're hungry, then they eat and then they hunt, and then they stop hunting. And so but anyway, but that's just I'm inserting like that's like there's some new science that has come out in the last little bit about that. But Ash is definitely like channeling that. The red race, he's channeling Winston Churchill and Adolf Hitler when he says like the lesser races were wiped out, like Native Americans were wiped out, they deserve to be wiped out. The lesser races in Nazi Germany, right? Like Jewish people, Roma, they all are going to be wiped out. They deserve to be wiped out because the Übermensch must survive, right? And Africa and Asians, the lesser races will be subordinated, enslaved, or wiped out because that's evolution, right? And so Ash is definitely channeling that. And obviously like in the world of Alien, that Übermensch, fascistic, Hitlerian, colonial, racist, colonialist, capitalist tendency of greed, supremacy, and ruthlessness above all else is being critiqued. It's not like that's great, right? Like Ash is definitely not a sympathetic character. You know what I'm saying? And he's one of the most. Holly and I were debating what is the most hated character in Alien. What is the most like? Oh god, that's the most repulsive, the most horrible character. Ash is high on it. Burke is like Burke in some ways is worse, as we were talking about. Like I love Burke I don't love Burke. He's a horrible guy, but like I love Burke as a character. Like I modeled the Norton Shuffler and Neofeud off of Burke, like in terms of like how he is, and he looks a bit like Burke, but I wanted it because Burke is great because Norton Shuffler is a sniveling, ladder climbing in Neofeud. He's a ladder climbing, sniveling little dork, but also like really insidious. Like he's trying to get up there, make more money for himself, climb the corporate ladder. And Burke is also ruthless, but he pretends to be. He's really better at. He pretends to be Ripley's friend. He calls her, "Hey kiddo, you're just having a rough time. I'm on your side. I'm in your corner. I am the friendly face of the corporation." He's very liberal. He's very like, "I'm just your best friend. I'm just trying to help you out here, kiddo. Like, but all we got to do is we kind of need information about that alien that you encounter. We want to know more about that." But he's actually responsible for like hundreds of people's deaths already. But he's talking like he's totally playing ignorant. So he's he's even more terrifying than Ash. Ash is like the conservative. Like, yes, the strong survive. Who has the money wins. Who has the gold makes the rules. The greatest master race survives. I'm a merciless murderer. He's like a not necessarily Douglas MacArthur, but he's like a right-wing conservative Republican general, right? Like America's gonna win, and we're gonna crush communism. We're gonna be the master race. We're gonna, the white American capitalist Western world will lead this planet. Period. That's it. And we killed everyone in Iraq because they had oil, and we took it because we're stronger than them. Period. Right? And then, but Burke is like the liberal. He's like Tony Blinken. He's like Tony Blinken, Tony Blair, Obama, Clinton, right? He's like, I'll feel your pain. I'll feel like I'm just so sad for all those people around the world. I'm so sad for your sad economic situation you're in. Our poor black and brothers and sisters, and and our women, women need to be treated equally. And I just want a better world for all of us. We're all gonna hold hands, and also I'm gonna bomb everyone around the world, and you're all gonna get screwed. And so Burke is definitely like that. That makes him kind of more horrifying in that sense, because he pretends to be a friend, and then actually he is. Everyone's having their faces implanted and their things ripping out of their stomachs because he's trying to make money. And I think Ripley says like, I don't know what's worse, Burke, the Xenomorphs, the aliens, or you. You don't see the aliens fucking each other over for a percentage, I think is the exact line. And so that's yeah. Anyway, so he's one of the most hated. But anyways, it's almost one. I should probably wrapping this up. But long story, Alien Earth is really strong. There's a lot of interesting questions asked by it, like the fear of I didn't even get to the robots and the synthetics and the hybrids. But one of the interesting things in Alien Earth, as I kind of wrap this up, is there are the hybrids, which that's one of the new additions. We got Timothy Oliphant playing Roy Batty. No, I'm just kidding. Timothy Oliphant plays a synthetic person who called Kirsch, who deeply resembles Roy Batty. In the middle there, I don't know if you can see this on the screen there. Yeah, I was like, shoot, I haven't seen Timothy Oliphant in so long. I always think of him in Die Hard 4. Live Free or Die Hard. But anyways, but Timothy Oliphant is he's playing he is a pure synthetic. He's much like Ash. He's like, we are a new organism. We and the strong must survive. He's talking to this end stage cancer patient. That's actually the girl on the right before she's inserted into her new body. We'll get to that in a second. But he's talking about like, I think a lot of one of the scenes on Earth open with this scorpion inside of a glass like fishbowl looking terrarium, right? So I can get a picture of that. Okay, I got you. I gotta close that corporate site soon. I like this picture. I'm gonna save that picture. But I don't want the corporate site. It's gonna drag my computer down. Yeah, like in Alien Earth, there's like a scorpion inside a tank, right? And obviously, the aliens have a lot of scorpion-like characteristics. They have a long, whipping tail. They're insectile. They have an exoskeleton. They're very dangerous. And but it starts with like this late stage cancer patient, poor young girl who's like has no hair. She's like in her hospital clothes. And Timothy Olyphant, the synthetic, is next to her saying like, she's looking at the alien, she's looking at the scorpion. She's like, it scares me. I don't want it around. Maybe can you kill it? And then he says, and the synthetic, Kirsch says, well, think about it from the scorpion's perspective, right? I forget exactly what he says, but like, it's in this glass bowl. What if when we dump it on the ground and if you go to stomp on it, what if other scorpions come to protect their friend and sting and kill you, right? Or sting and kill someone, right? That's actually a very interesting conversation between it's a synthetic person and a human child, right? And it's like, what if the scorpion's friends come and attack you to protect their friend? Just like you want to, guys. I think she actually says like, what if someone else gets stung because she knows she's dying, right? That's actually one of the really good storytelling bits. Is like she's not concerned about herself getting stung. She's concerned about the young girl is concerned about other people, other humans getting stung because she knows she's gonna die soon, right? Or she's gonna be moved into another body soon. It's kind of the foreshadowing in that. That's like the quality of the script and the cinema is like top notch. They don't really do that a lot nowadays anymore. And so she also communicates that she cares about other people. She's like, I don't want other people to be hurt. Right? She has like caring instincts. She has like empathy. Right? Mr. Terrell, like he doesn't have empathy from Blade Runner, who created Roy Batty. That's another crossover between Blade Runner and the Blade Runner and the Alien universe. Why does he look like Roy Batty? With his bleached hair, he looks like Rutger Hauer, and he also has bleached eyebrows. Yeah, like doesn't like the Hirsch guy in Alien the Hirsch synthetic, he's also a synthetic person in Alien Earth. Like where is he? Right? Yeah. Look at that and look at this, right? Like his hairline, his hair color, like he's like he very much resembles the replicant from Blade Runner. Anyway, I think that was intentional, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so but like the synthetic asks like, are you sure you want me to kill the scorpion? Because what if the scorpion's friends come to protect it? Like you want to protect your friends, and the scorpions, to protect their friend scorpion, kill your friends. And then she has to kind of think about that, and she's like, right. And then eventually he's like, oh. So later on, he's like, so what do you want me to do? I will do what you. She's like, are you gonna kill it? And he's like, what do you want? And then she says, don't kill it. Right. So that's kind of like it's obviously just like a foreshadowing for later, but but it's also like when you have the three separate, there's the cyborg, the synthetic, and hybrids, which is human minds that have been inserted into a artificial created body, right? And that's like there's a war between 5 separate corporations. That's another thing about Alien Earth, is it expands from a single Weyland-Yutani, or just the Tyrell Corporation, or just the Wallace Corporation in Blade Runner 2049, or just kind of like this kind of miasma of the U.S. government and the corporation. There's some smugglers, U.S. government, and some kind of U.S. like galactic government and military in space in Resurrection, but it's not really important, right? Not very important. In Alien Earth, it seems like one of the central pieces is kind of like Game of Thronesy, right? It's kind of neo-feudal. Neo-feud is kind of Game of Thronesy, where there are different corporations that are themselves fighting over the alien research itself. They want the alien organism. Like Weyland Yutani wants the ship because on it has alien life forms that they have gone out through the galaxy to collect, including the Xenomorph. The Prodigy Corporation, led by that boy Cavalier, and very extremely annoying. He's kind of an amalgamation of like Elon Musk and all the worst of the Doge billionaire team and billionaires in general. And it's very well played. He's extremely hateable. He is also a high contender for one of the most hateable characters, that boy Cavalier. But anyways, so they're all fighting over this alien. They're all fighting over the alien research but the technology and the profits and military applications that it has, obviously, right? They want it for their own personal, greedy, selfish, billionaire and corporate reasons. And they also have competing technologies. One of them created cyborgs. One of them has the synthetic, like the cyborg has human. I forgot exactly what the cyborg is. Cybernetic organism. He has like blowtorches and knives that like retractably come out of his arms. It's very cyberpunk. It's kind of like the Cyberpunk 2077, or just like the Cyberpunk. I have like he's like the Adam Jensen of Deus Ex 3 version. It's the Deus Ex 3 Adam Jensen sort of character in the Alien universe, right? They have like he's got weapons that come out of his body, right? That retract back into his body. I guess RoboCop also had that back. The gun that comes out of his leg. The synthetic is completely synthetic person. They're like, I think it's like Ash. That's what he's supposed to be like. And then the hybrid is kind of humans inside of a robot. And so the interesting thing is like when you put a human mind, and you have to use children's minds because the children are malleable enough to be able to insert it in the universe, right? In the lore of this alien Earth world, the children's minds are malleable enough to handle the transformational process of going from a human biological body and having their consciousness inserted into a synthetic form, right? And that's been in science fiction before. There's a not the best movie ever, but Titan is one that was starring Sam, what's his face from Terminator Salvation. But anyway, it's like moving a human mind into a synthetic body, right, has been something, because maybe that's one way to live forever, right? Or moving a human mind into a computer, right? Mind uploading is another thing that has been considered for some time. It's also in Neuromancer, obviously. But a lot of the Alien Earths, one of the very strong parts of the show is how the children are really, the children get moved in their late stage cancer. They're going to die soon, and their families have signed up for the corporation. Give me 1 second. Sorry, suddenly got super hot. The families have signed their children into this program because they're going to be dead soon from their late stage leukemia or metastasized cancer or whatever illness they have to be part of this experiment procedure. But the rule is they have to stay in Neverland. They're all called. She is Wendy, leading the Lost Boys, right? In this obviously Peter Pan metaphor, they all watch on the ceiling as they're moved from their sick human child body into this new synthetic adult body. So they're children in adults' bodies, but they're watching Peter Pan on this circular ceiling screen as they move over, and it's almost like their semi-orientation video. Now you're going to be in Neverland with a corporate billionaire creep forever. That's its own kind of horror. Being stuck with like a Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk fusion, grotesque hybrid who likes to hang over the side of chairs and treat you like you're just like meat popsicle money making machines and toys for him to play with. And you're like imagine me like stuck in Elon and Mark Zuckerberg's sandbox forever. And you don't even realize that that's kind of what's happened to you. And that might be one of the most horrifying. That might be the most horrifying thing in the entire Alien franchise, right? But for them, the kids, like, at least the kids get bodies. They're not dead. They get new bodies. They can before they were sickly, but now they can run, they can jump, they can dance. And because they're synthetic bodies, they're stronger and faster than humans. Like Wendy can lift like two other children easily just hanging off of one arm. Like her arm is like a metal bar in a jungle gym, and they're on the monkey bars. And so she can jump off like 100-foot drop from a cliffside into a sandy beach, and it's like she hopped off a curb or something, right? And she can run extremely fast, etc. She also apparently has like a supercomputer inside of her head, so she can hear in like 73,000 hertz, well beyond the human auditory range. She can like interact directly with electronics and computer screens. And communicate through them. It has a little bit Ghost in the Shell sort of vibes with that. A little bit like her, where like we don't know exactly what is happening, but she's at one point like she cares about her brother, who she was separated from, and her dad told her brother that she simply died, but the dad lied because the dad had to, and told her that she had to go away to this special place, right? This billionaire's, he's actually a trillionaire's little Neverland, and you have to just you're gonna be able to live there, but you can't tell anyone, and you're never gonna see. I think she was not actually told. She had this idea that she might get to see her brother again, but then she realized later that she's not gonna get to actually see him in person and be with him again. But then after the procedure, now she spent a lot of her days just like watching her brother through cameras, like surveillance. Her brother works as a medic for, is it Wayland Yutani? Oh no, her brother works as a medic for the Prodigy Corporation has an entire like city island, right? It's one corporation island basically, and he works for the emergency like paramilitary forces that do like search and rescue on the island, right? And he himself is a medic, and she like watches him like all day obsessively. So that's kind of like you get the sense that like one of the best parts of Alien Earth. I gotta wrap this up, but Timothy Olyphant's synthetic, he is more ash like. He's very cold. He's very like stronger organisms must survive. You are not a human anymore. We are better, stronger, more evolved life forms. You are not. He also says like you're not humans anymore. You are not actually children. Right? You're not humans. You don't cower. You don't feel fear. You're not animals or something like. He says that at one point. You're better than animals. So he has a lot of these like very ethno-supremacists, fascisty. Kind of things that he says, like we are a superior race, we are better. We are better than the humans. Like he kind of, it's unclear like how much of that is like how much are that like David and Prometheus gets mistreated by the humans, so you kind of feel sorry for him, but he also does really horrible things too. So it's like how much of this is like just I'm upset at the humans, and how much of this is like I am deeply, strongly believe that it's a little bit Magneto-y, right? It's like how much of this is like I'm upset because these admittedly terrible things that have been done to me by humans, and how much of this is I believe that mutants are a superior race and must replace humans. At minimum, we have to not work with, and we have to fight them at all turns, right? It's kind of like a gray area. And so the Kirsch guy is he kind of says a lot of these things to her. He like the humans, like he is trying to guide her towards like you have to be part of this new synthetic greater a greater new species, a greater new form of life, right? We're not animals. We're better than that. And we all he kind of guides them as the synthetic at the corporation. The billionaire Boy Cavalier is like, I just want fun toys to play with. He treats them really kind of he was supposedly a boy genius who invented breakthrough cutting edge technology that changed the world when he was like 12 or a little kid. I'm still like waiting to see like how exactly they portray him. Is he actually is this show's going to portray him as actually being that smart, or is he simply being propped up as that by corporation, by capitalism, like Elon Musk has been propped up as being some kind of genius when he's not actually that smart? Because it's good for the capitalist system as a whole, good for corporations, good for the rich, to have themselves being portrayed as deserving of billions, right? And the massive gains, ill-gotten gains they have gotten, by being rich. It's not because we just had money beforehand and we're kind of a corrupt, mediocre aristocracy at the top of this unjust hierarchy. It's just that we are super smart, like Iron Man, right? Who invents his way. He invents cold fusion with like his belly button lint and like soda cans in a cave somewhere. He's just like he's a genius beyond beyond anything the world has ever seen. That's why Iron Man is worth billions. That's why Elon is worth billions, right? So it's unclear. Like I like the way that you portray like the heads of these dystopian corporations. If they actually are portrayed as actually being that smart, it says something different, you know, whether the filmmakers chose to or not, whatever the thought. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes just kind of, we're just making a movie. We're not thinking about that. What exactly we're saying, you know, we are not PhDs in film analysis, cultural studies, and English and political science that are pissed off anti-capitalist millennials. And not everybody's thinking that far, but like the way that you portray, I want to see how they portray the boy Cavalier, as a counter. A good example is like in Mickey 17, in Mickey 17, Mark Ruffalo plays it's a kind of dystopian sci-fi space movie. This boy Cavalier with a K. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so 150. This really got to be my last point. There's so many more things I could talk about. I gotta wrap it up though. The actor does a really good job. He's a British guy doing an American accent, acting like a child, but just being a total obnoxious, just the most obnoxious. Oh my god, he says like, what do you want? Like, oh man, he's so hateable. He's so hated. He's definitely doing a good. It's like, you know, when Elon is like looking at his spoon, like going, look, I can balance a spoon on my finger, and like thinking that's so amazing. And how frustrating. But this guy is like one of the richest person in the world, and he's like an idiot on ketamine. He's like on drugs. He's like doing a silly dance that's not even entertaining, being unfunny on Twitter in general, and it's just like the boy Cavalier and the actor in the show does a good job of like capturing that. Like, this guy is like less than mediocre at most things, comedy, coming up with ideas. How is this guy so rich and so powerful in the world? Why is he in charge of things, right? And everyone just being frustrated at him. Like, everyone who at that company, they're all kind of like, they have to listen to him because he's the billionaire, he's the CEO, he's the head of the honcho, he's the richest guy. But he's also like, this guy is incompetent. This guy is a clown. This guy is not that smart. This guy is like actively wrecking a lot of things. This guy's, right? But you got to listen to him. Right, so that definitely comes through. As I was saying, like in Mickey 17, Mark Ruffalo's character in this sci-fi movie, this is just the one example I thought of. He is a super rich billionaire, right? Guy who thinks he's super smart. He has all these ideas, but he actually, like, the scientists around him are shown to actually be doing the work, and he's taking credit and taking money and profit from that, having ideas, sending it off into space, like making all kind of bad decisions, gets people killed, making bad decisions that's kind of hurting his own company. But everybody still has to listen to him because he's the richest guy in the room. He's the aristo oligarcho spoiled brat, right? Kind of, right? And then he's just like, I'm going to put on my general's uniform. I'm going to conquer this new planet. We're going to build a great new world. And he has all these weird, screwed up, like kind of racist ideas about how we're going to do that and wants to wipe out on it. But it's kind of showing that he's not that smart. He just has a lot of money, and he lucked out of being into that position under, like this racist capitalist system of being at the top of that pyramid of capitalism. And that's, but he's not actually worth. He doesn't have billions of dollars worth of great thoughts and work that he does, right? And so that's one example of what I'm saying, like a dystopian sci-fi movie that doesn't like empower and enable that mythology of billionaire capitalists are actually deserving of all the money that they're worth, right? And like, paradoxically, I mean, I love Blade Runner and it's a great movie, but like Terrell, like in the context of the movie, this is a little bit film analytics wonkage, but and the political analysis of it, but like Terrell in Blade Runner, like it's several times like Terrell is like, he's a similar guy, right? He's a billionaire, head of the huge powerful corporation. He has a giant pyramid. Like he thinks he's like Ra. He's like a pharaoh, like sort of character. It's brilliant filmmaking and design for the Blade Runner production team and Ridley Scott. But like when it comes, like there's the Chinese character played by James Hong that is in the very cold facility. He makes the eyes, like in this small shop. Like it's almost like a Chinese food shop. It's like an antique shop or like a laundromat. But instead of doing laundry, they make eyeballs, right? And that part I think is actually important because like in that bit, like the James Hong character is like this. He speaks in broken English to Roy Batty. I forget what his name is. And the Chinese, Hannibal Chu, that's his name. Yeah, the Hannibal Chu character. He says when he's interrogated, "Oh, I only make the eyes. Terrell, like the man Terrell. He make your brain. He the big genius, right? And everything it implied, nothing contradicts that. Like Terrell is running the experiment with Rachel, right? Terrell brings Rick Deckard in to see how his new the hybrids in Alien Earth also are an echo of Blade Runner in that in Alien Earth, where are they? Fuck, I got so many. Yeah, in Alien Earth, the hybrids on the right are synthetic bodies with human memory implants, right? Basically, right? They're kind of like replicants. The cyborgs on the right are human machine. I don't know exactly what the cyborgs are. They have like mechanical body parts that come out. Maybe they're part human, unclear. Synthetics are completely artificial persons with that android blood like Ash, and on the right are like the Rachel from Blade Runner replicants. That's one way to think about it. And but in Blade Runner, Terrell is running the experiment. Terrell is like when he asks like Rick Deckard, how many questions did it take till you figured out through your Voight-Kampff test that Rachel was a replicant? How many questions? Right? He's just like, it's all like, I'm just interested in, but he is running the experiment for this synthetic person that he's created using his own niece's memory. So he's a horrible guy. And then after that, he discards her, and he's just a horrible man. The Terrell guy. He's horrible. He's immoral. He's a billionaire rich guy. But it never contradicts this idea that it never shows that Terrell isn't worth the billions. It's like, no, Terrell created Roy Batty's brain. Terrell is a super uber ultra genius. Terrell deserves his power because he's so smart, right? So that's what I'm trying to say is like, just by adding a little few lines in there, right, or removing some, right, because, right, where like in Mickey 17, all the other scientists and all the professionals around, like there's biologists, computer scientists, there's xenobiologists, there's various engineers, and they're all like, they're competent in their fields, right? That's all actual humanity is. You have lots of people that are competent at various degrees in their fields, and working together, millions of people that make all these breakthroughs and they work together. Individuals have various contributions, but like there's not, this is individual super geniuses. It's part of this great man of history, super great individuals that hides a lot of the way that the world actually works. There's just a lot of collective coming together. It's like almost like Ayn Rand wrote this motion pictures for this preservation of screen guide for the preservation of American values, specifically selfish individualism, capitalism, and it's literally right. So but if you just say like if James Hong said, oh well, Mr. Terrell, like he has a lot of money, right? If he didn't say he is a genius, he made your brain, but he says like he owns the corporation, right? That kind of changes the whole context. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyway, but so long story short, that's like a little discourse side note, but that's like how like just a few lines of the dialogue and how the scientists interact with the CEO characters, the billionaire characters, right? The super rich owner characters, right? Whether you make Elon, because it's kind of like whether you justify Elon Musk's billions or whether you say that he shouldn't have those, right? It kind of makes it either he's a pro-capitalist or anti-capitalist. Are you like, billionaires are awesome and they deserve all that money, and if we give Elon and Mark Zuckerberg more money, the world will be better, right? Or you just by that little bit of added lines, how the actual scientists and engineers react to and talk about, and how the world portrays the rich, supposedly genius, because they're always like Elon. I think I made a video about how there's a Dr. Fatima video about how the rich and CEOs and capitalists are constantly trying to put themselves by speaking about themselves as proximal to or as scientists and as physicists, as geniuses. They constantly want to do that to lend themselves legitimacy, and they have other people do that for them as well. Right? Anyway, so we'll see how Alien Earth pans out. But the way Alien Earth is, like, there's some lines that are kind of revealing, because there's actually a scientist, like a psychologist, that works for this guy, and she is like, again, so she that works for the Boy Cavalier billionaire, and she is saying like, she says, well, we need like, now that we've created new people, we have to make sure that they have a good world to live in. Like, we want these people to be the best moral. Like, she's much more like a caring person in general. Like, she wants the humanity to. She wants these new humans that have human brains in artificial bodies, right? To have good lives, to be good people, right? She wants to like have a better world for them. And the billionaire kid is like, I don't care about that. I'm bored. I mean, like, I'm in charge. I have the money, and you're not as smart as me. The biggest problem for me, I don't care about. I just want to build I want to build something smarter than me, because all of you around me, you're okay scientists and engineers, and you're biologists, and you work on these projects, but I'm smarter than all of you, and you bore me. He like literally says, he's like eating an apple, like kind of spitting chunk of apple in her face. It's like, I don't care about what I care about the future of the world. What I care about is like, I'm bored, and you're not that smart. I'm smarter than you. Right? And she's like, thanks for that. And he's like, that's why I'm going to do what I need to do to make something smarter. That's what I care about. It's not, he said, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about like, I just want to find somebody smarter than me. And like the way that she reacts is kind of like, you're fucking like, she wants to tell him like, you're not that smart. You act, or I don't know exactly. Right? We'll see what happens. But the look on her face is kind of like imagine like Elon saying, I mean, it's nice to be around all of these SpaceX rocket scientists and physicists, and world-class programmers, but I'm smarter than all of you. Like, I could build a rocket if I wanted to, right? Like Elon says, I could do physics if I wanted to. Like, I could program a better Twitter if I wanted to. I just don't feel like it right now. And all of you Twitter employees, all you computer programmers at X, all of the space engineers at SpaceX, you're all just not smart enough for me. Imagine that Elon just went up to the SpaceX, like 100 SpaceX scientists and ex-NASA employees that are like, watching, they're like horrified. They got to work for this guy because it's giving them all a bad name. But they're trying to do their best. They're trying to do the best they can under the conditions of rocketry, making sure they get the oxygen, hydrogen mixes for the propellant for the next Condor, the next Falcon, or Starship rocket. And Elon's like, you guys are all boring because you're not that smart. I'm smarter than you. What would you say, right? Now, you can't just say, Elon, you are kind of a dumbass and you're just a rich, spoiled brat who has made his name because America and the imperial capitalist world needed a poster child, real world Iron Man to justify, to kind of brainwash most of humanity into believing that individual billionaire capitalists and the capitalist system can lead the world to better places and has saved the world. And you have that position because, not to say all of it, but you have that position because that is what the capitalist world needs the world to believe as a whole. All of them together, a millionaire, billion, all the rich, all the capitalist class, liberal and conservative, they need that, right? Because if people believe, right? Because remember, the alien organism, communism, socialism could infect the United States, and then it will be destroyed, right? And they can't let it infect. So you need Elon Musk is like the Ripley for capitalism, right? He burns all the idea, like not him personally, but his job was to kind of like burn out and root out and kill all the foreign organisms of communism by people just believing that individual, they just work hard, study hard, and be smart, right? And be a tech genius, right? Invent new rockets, invent green technology, right? Invent new self-driving electric vehicles, right? Invent everything in the future. It just all gets attributed to him because, right? Because he has to burn out all the communist foreign bodies that could gestate in the soul and in the mind, the consciousness of the collective American body politic, and then it erupt and it'll be the end, right? So that's in that sense, right? So, but if you're not, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what the NASA scientist is thinking, but I'm saying like, if Elon says I'm smarter than every scientist on the earth, everyone who works, you're all worthless compared to me. I don't need any of you. I don't need any Twitter employees. I don't need any Tesla employees. You're all stupid compared to me. You can't tell Elon Musk. You can't tell Elon Musk, Elon, that's bullshit, right? Because what will happen? You'll be fired. That's it. And then how are you going to pay your bills in the capitalist, right? So I mean, unless you're going to rage quit, you know, and then kind of write a diatribe for the New York Times later on, or you know, you go on Breakthrough News and talk about how horrible these billionaires are, you know, or some other, you know, left podcast. But if you want to keep a job at a time, you can't say no. So anyway, that's a. So that dynamic of like the people around him are like, but they're like frustrated with him, but they can't say no. That's very realistic. That's how it is in the U.S. and a lot of the late stage capitalist world, corporate dystopia. And so so there's a woman that's saying like, the woman psychologist is arguing like we need to make. They're all kind of fighting over who the new hybrid human in an artificial body is going to be. Is she going to be more like a human in an artificial body, which will have a great world? It'll be like humans, but better, stronger, faster, longer lifespan, but basically just humans living in a better world. Or the synthetic is kind of guiding like, you know, you are a better, stronger race. You need to separate yourself from the humans, right? Think about your survival. That's evolution, survival of the fittest, right? So he's like, embrace your internal ash. Like embrace your, you know, embrace your embrace your inner Magneto, or you know, embrace your inner survival of the fittest instincts. Like you are better than the humans. Don't stop thinking like them, right? Don't think like an animal, right? You're something else, right? And so you can feel like he's pulling her. They're all talking to her because it's like a Neverland. It's like a daycare at Tesla headquarters. You know, they're all interact with her in different ways, and the other kids there, and they're all trying to like guide them. It's having like three fucked up parents, but and then the billionaire guy is he's kind of like a total he's like the negligent, non-present, deadbeat dad billionaire that's just like, he's like Elon, right? Treating his kids like human shields and then leaving them to never play with until he wants to have fun with them, right? Like Elon's daughter, his trans daughter, that's right, Vivian, who is completely estranged, completely anti-Elon at this point. And like he's just like, I just want you around to see if you're gonna get interesting, and you can do some experiment. If it's gonna be fun, we'll do it. Like, and then so she's like, I want to go and help my brother who's in this spaceship that's crashed into this huge building, and he's like, oh, that might be fun. And the other ones are like, are you sure that's a good idea? And like, she really wants to do it. It is like, well, I mean, I'm here to have fun. I don't care about what's good, safe. I care about what could be hazardous. If we lose the properties, at one point the Hirsch is like, I don't know if we should send them in. I don't know if they're trained. Like they could be harmed. The building could collapse, so we could lose. You know, these are. I mean, I think he says like, you know, like these are valuable. You don't want them, you know, being being crushed when the building possibly falls down, because a spaceship has crashed into Earth, right? And it crashed into these buildings, and then the billionaire's like, well, I mean, it's fine. It's going to be fun, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen, because it's going to be your responsibility, Hirsch. You get out there, and you're going to be their chaperone. And if they die, it's on you. So yeah. So there's like he's kind of like the flippant kind of. He wants to kind of be like this like fun dad, but he's like a total a-hole. And so he's kind of, and he's like, I just want you to get smarter, and we'll see what happens. We'll just see what happens with you. And then you have kind of like the Nazi synth dad, and you have like the woman who's like, let's make a better world for them to live in. And it's interesting. Like, it's really, Alien Earth is very, very much, we're all invested. That's one of the reasons why. Where it's like, what will become of that? Like, what directions will she move in, and what will she not? What will the kids become? They also are they're adults that are acting very, very convincingly as kids. And I got to wrap it up because it's already late. So there's so much more to say about it. I got to stop. Thank you for watching at the Silver Spook stream. If you want to help us out, ko-fi.com/silverspook. ko-fi.com/silverspook. You can give us one-time direct donations. You can also help us out at patreon.com/Neofeud. And you can also help us out at... we're grabbing the games like Neofeud on Steam. Neofeud on Steam is a dystopian cyberpunk sci-fi adventure game that is definitely inspired by the Blade Runner and Alien universes, among others, and corporate dystopias of various kinds. And it is a game that supports everything that we do here. Or it does deal with some of those questions. A cyborg social worker, an ex-con robot, and sentient machines that are created by giant corporations, dumped out of the floating palaces that the billionaires live in, team up to try ex-con robots and broke. There's actually a cyborg. There's a full robot, and then there's a human, and there's an immortal human. So in that sense, it's actually a little bit like Alien Earth. Neofeud is kind of like Alien Earth. You got cyborgs. You got full synthetic. You got human hybrids. Princess Sybil. Anyways, so Neofeud is a retro point-and-click adventure game set in that universe. And if you would like to, not set in the Alien universe, but set in my cyberpunk universe. And if you would like to help us out even more, don't forget to leave even a very short review if you got a chance to play Neofeud. You can also get Neofeud on itch.io for Windows and Mac and Linux, along with Decolonators, Pigeon with Gun, several other games, and Woman is a book by Holly, who was raised in right-wing evangelical Christian culture and critiques that world from the perspective of Mary in the Bible. You can also follow at Silverspook Games at wandering.shop and at Silverspook Games at mastodon.social. On Twitter, of course, you can follow Silverspook Guy for more of these takes and videos on Alien Earth, Fearing the Future, hoping for and aspiring towards and feeling the future, and many other videos. And also I post various personal takes on Silver Spook Guy and at Silver Spook Games for the games related material. And we're also on many other platforms. And Holly, you can follow, of course, at Allergic to Blue on Twitter, and also on Twitter and various platforms. And Instagram is one of them. And always sharing important information. And speaking of scary, Halloween's coming up, and so lots more scary, creepy stuff. We're also gossier, so that's a whole part of it. And you know what? So yeah, you know, in space, no one can hear you scream. You know, in space, no one can hear you scream. Alien is very Halloween. It's very Halloween oriented. It's a lot of screaming and a lot of blood splattering. Anyways, you can also, thanks to our patrons for our Patreon support, massively appreciated. Without your help, it's hard to keep doing this work. So thank you so much to all of our Patreons for that ongoing help. Hugely appreciated. And anyways, until next time, keep mirror shades past. Sorry, I'm trying to talk fast because I'm trying to get out. I'm always at the end. I'm a little bit over time. Keep mirror shades past. Be excellent to each other. Careful for them face huggers. Don't put your face too close to large ovum. Don't stick your face into giant extraterrestrial eggs. Okay, bad idea. And we'll see you next time.